Your bearded dragon climbs onto your chest and just stays there. Your ball python coils around your arm and does not move for an hour. Most people think that is random. It is not. Reptiles do not waste energy. Every position, every movement, every choice they make means something. And once you learn to read those signals, you will never look at your reptile the same way again. Let me show you exactly what your animal is trying to tell you. Part 1. Why reptile behavior is different. Before we get into the specific positions and what they mean, you need to understand one fundamental thing about reptile behavior. These animals are not wired like dogs or cats. They do not bond through affection the way mammals do. Their brains are built around survival, temperature regulation, and resource management. That means every single thing they do has a reason behind it. When a reptile chooses to sit on you, near you, or in a specific posture, it is not random. It is a calculated decision their nervous system makes based on what their body needs in that exact moment. In the United States, reptiles have become one of the fastest-growing pet categories. There are currently an estimated 9 million pet reptiles in American households, with bearded dragons, ball pythons, leopard geckos, and blue-tongued skinks leading the numbers. And yet most of their owners are missing the most important conversations these animals are having every single day. That ends right now. Part 2. The heat seekers. Let us start with the most common behavior you will ever see. Your reptile climbs on you and sits completely still on your chest, your lap, or your shoulder. Most owners immediately think this is affection. Sometimes it is something much more practical. Reptiles are ectotherms. They cannot produce their own body heat. They rely entirely on their environment to regulate their core temperature. Your body is a walking heat source at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. To a reptile, you are basically a heated rock that breathes. So when your bearded dragon drapes itself across your chest in the morning, pay close attention to the timing. Is it first thing in the morning before the lights in their enclosure have fully warmed up? That is almost certainly a thermoregulation behavior. Their enclosure temperature has dropped overnight, and they are using your body to warm up before they start their day. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. If your reptile does this in the middle of the afternoon, after they have already been basking for hours under a proper heat lamp, the equation changes completely. Now they are choosing your warmth over their own perfectly calibrated basking spot. That is a different signal entirely. That is familiarity. That is comfort. That is your animal consciously associating your presence with safety and calm. Part 3. The positions that tell you everything. Now let us talk specifics, because the position your reptile chooses tells you everything you need to know. A reptile that sits high on your body, on your shoulder, or near your neck is displaying exploratory confidence. It feels safe enough to get a better view of its surroundings. In the wild, height means safety from ground-level predators. When your lizard chooses your shoulder, it is telling you this environment is low threat and worth exploring. A reptile that tucks into the curve of your elbow or presses firmly against your side is seeking security. This is a hiding behavior redirected toward you. In nature, it would press into a rock crevice or a hollow log. You have become that safe space. This is one of the strongest trust signals a reptile can show you. A reptile that sits flat and spread wide on your lap, belly down with its limbs stretched out to the sides, is doing something very specific. It is maximizing surface contact for heat absorption, and it is also completely relaxed. A stressed or threatened reptile compresses and tightens its body. A flat, fully spread out reptile is a calm reptile. And if it slowly closes its eyes while doing this, you can consider that the highest compliment your animal is capable of giving. Part 4. The warning signals. Not every behavior is a good sign, and this is exactly where reptile ownership in America goes wrong so often. People misread stress signals as affection, because on the surface they can look very similar. Watch for this specific pattern. A reptile that climbs on you and immediately starts moving, turning its head rapidly, flicking its tongue at a very high and frantic rate, and never once settles, is not relaxed. It is scanning. It is overwhelmed by its environment and actively looking for a way out. Holding a reptile that shows these signs for extended periods does not build trust. It slowly destroys it. Pay attention to glass surfing before you even pick them up. A reptile that constantly paces along the front wall of its enclosure is telling you something is wrong with its environment. The underlying stress does not magically disappear the moment you lift them out. You are adding handling stress directly on top of enclosure stress, and every reptile has a threshold. Cross it too many times, and you create an animal that permanently associates human hands with something negative. The specific body language you need to know: a puffed-up bearded dragon is not happy, it is threatened. A ball python curled into a tight defensive ball when you approach has not chosen to sleep, it has chosen to protect itself. A gecko, with its tail raised and waving slowly, is in full threat display mode. Learn these signals. Respect them every single time. Part 5. How to build a real bond. Here's the insight that changes everything about how you interact with your animal. Trust with a reptile is not built through persistence. It is built through predictability. The owners across the United States who have the most genuinely bonded reptiles are not the ones who handle them the most often. They are the ones who handle them on a consistent, calm schedule, read their animal's body language accurately in real time, and stop every single interaction before the animal ever reaches its stress threshold. Start short. 5 minutes of calm, completely still contact does more for your long-term relationship than 30 minutes of forced handling. Let your reptile make its own choices whenever possible. Place your hand inside the enclosure and allow them to decide whether they want to climb on. The more agency your animal has in the interaction, the faster genuine trust develops. Over time, something real shifts in how they respond to you. Your reptile begins to recognize your scent, your body temperature, your specific movements and patterns. They start to associate your presence with warmth, safety, and a predictable, low-threat environment. That is when the behaviors you see change completely. That is when they seek you out instead of simply tolerating you. That is when they settle on your chest at 2 p.m, close their eyes, and stay. And now you know exactly what that means. If this video helped you understand your reptile on a deeper level, hit subscribe. See you in the next one.